Well, as you can tell by the title of the video, in this video I will be talking about my predictions and theories for chapter 140 of One Punch Man. Now you may be wondering, why are you making a prediction video? Why not just make a review once the chapter actually comes out? Well, if you keep up with the One Punch Man manga, then you would know that we don't have the luxury of knowing when our chapters release. We get the chapters when we get them. Now I would normally wait for the chapter to come out, even if it took like a month before making a prediction video, but considering we just received another redraw and are expecting another redraw of Saitama and Orochi, leads me to believe that we're probably not getting another One Punch Man chapter for a couple more weeks from now. And the same goes for the webcomic, because for the people that read the webcomic, we know that one pretty much published like a new chapter for 5 days in a row, which was great, don't get me wrong, but at the back of my mind I knew that after this chapter dump we were definitely 100% going for another hiatus after this, like 5 chapters. But don't get me wrong, the chapters were amazing and I'm excited for the next few chapters of the webcomic as well as the manga. And for those who think I fake these prediction videos because I read the webcomic, I'm genuinely not. The events in the webcomic and the events in the manga are surprisingly a lot different than you think. I'm not forcing you to read the webcomic, but if you would like to see it for yourself, then by all means go ahead, it's actually really good. But now that's finally out of the way, make sure you leave a like on the video and subscribe if you're new to the channel. My goal is to hit 2k by the end of the year, but now that is finally out of the way, let's just get into the damn video. Now, chapter 139 was probably one of the best chapters that we have gotten in a long time. But don't get me wrong, chapter 137 and 138 were also very good chapters. Especially in chapter 138, God was finally revealed. So if you don't already know, in chapter 139 of the One Punch Man manga, Blast was finally revealed in person. No flashback, not just the discussion about him. This time we actually saw him live in the flesh, and just from his brief exchange with Flashy Flash in a fight gives us, although a very small but at least somewhat of an idea of how strong he is. But I don't think I have enough information to make a whole video on how strong he is. But back on topic, what do I think will happen in chapter 140 of the manga? Now, I've made sort of a theory / explain video on chapter 140 and Blast's Cube, so if you'd like to know about that, then feel free to check that video out. Now, as someone who is pretty well versed in the One Punch Man community, I have heard the theory about Blast returning to the surface and meeting Garou. Well, this theory isn't necessarily impossible, it's definitely plausible, but I do think it's unlikely to happen due to the simple fact that we would be exposed to too much of Blast's abilities. And I'm sure it's no secret that Murata and One are trying to show us as little of Blast's abilities as they possibly can to still keep that mysterious aspect to Blast, which is completely understandable because Blast, as I've said in multiple previous videos, seems more of an end game type of character, and One Punch Man at the moment does not look like it's ending anytime soon. So overall, the possibility of the Garou versus Blast theory happening, in my opinion, is pretty low. And bear in mind, Garou isn't even on the surface yet. He's still somewhere below and pretty much can't move after his intense fight against Darkshine. Now, if I'm being completely honest, I feel like the next chapter will be more focused on the fight on the surface with Child Emperor, Zombie Man, etc. against Homeless Emperor, and I'm guessing a few other of the cadre that may also join the fight. Considering we got like 3 amazing hype chapters in a row, I would imagine Murata and One would want to slow down the pace a little and shift to a different event besides God, Saitama, Blast, or Garou. Don't get me wrong, I would love another chapter with Blast, Saitama, God, and even Garou. But I feel like we've gotten too much screen time, or page time should I say. I really don't know what to call it, but they've been getting a lot of attention lately, and we also have to bear in mind that there are multiple events happening at the same time. For example, Garou is currently somewhere underground after his fight against Darkshine. Most of the S-Class heroes are on the surface and have been attacked by Homeless Emperor, and most likely, some other cadres may join them. And Saitama and Flashy Flash are underground and have been kind of transported to a whole new dimension after touching the cube and have encountered Blast and are currently heading towards the surface. My point is, there are many events happening at the moment and we can't expect to stay with any of these groups for pretty much more than 1 or 2 chapters. If we look at the trend in the events that are focused in previous chapters in this arc, we see that most of the time we don't stick with one group or one event for maximum more than 2 chapters. And sometimes near the end of a chapter we shift briefly to a different group, an example being the recent chapter we received where at the end we briefly shifted to the surface where Child Emperor, Zombie Man and Sweet Mask were getting attacked by Homeless Emperor. And this shift in events near the end of the chapters leads perfectly for this particular event to be the main focus of the next chapter, which is why I believe the next chapter will mainly focus on the fight against Homeless Emperor. So my final predictions for the next chapter is we're either going to shift the focus away from Saitama, God and Blast and either focus on the fight against Homeless Emperor, or instead we do an unexpected shift to Garou, who is somewhere underground. And that's pretty much my prediction, and I don't know if these will come true, but considering like what's happened in previous chapters, I think it's likely we will shift the attention to Zombie Man and Child Emperor. That's pretty much it for this video. If you liked the video, make sure you leave a like and subscribe with notifications turned on and set to all, and apart from that, I will see you in my next video.